Welcome to Executive's Guide to Cloud Computing. In this presentation, we will be discussing cloud computing and how it can benefit your business. I know what you're thinking. Why are they loading a uranium enrichment centrifuge onto that old airplane? Actually, this is a picture of a hard disk circa 1956. In September 1956, IBM launched the 305 RAMAC, the first computer with a hard disk drive. It weighed over a ton and stored 5 megabytes of data. Start appreciating your 1 gigabit flash drive. Maybe you've seen a brick cell phone. Maybe you owned one. This is Dr. Martin Cooper of Motorola. He made the first cell phone call in the USA. The Sony Walkman has been replaced by iPods that can hold thousands upon thousands of cheaply downloaded songs. These state-of-the-art devices have been made obsolete by newer, much better products. Your computer network will soon belong among these pictures. Servers in the closets of small business also belong with these pictures. Signal Hill Network Solutions has been supporting IT for businesses in Colorado for 20 years. Cloud Colorado combines the technical experience of Signal Hill while bringing over 10 years of experience and expertise in the cloud. Here's the government definition of the cloud. Got it? This might define it better. Cloud computing. It's not a technology revolution, but rather a business and process evolution. It's about how businesses use technologies that enable cloud computing as it exists today. On October 30th, 2005, one of the world's wealthiest billionaires wrote an urgent memo to his top engineers and most trusted management team. It sounded the alarm that a very disruptive wave was about to wash over the IT industry, forever changing the way we get information and use technology, and threatening to destroy the $200 billion empire he spent his life building. Meanwhile, along the banks of the Columbia River, a mysterious company known only as Design LLC was secretly constructing 2 massive 34,000 square foot windowless warehouses on top of a fiber optic network codenamed Project 2. In case you haven't guessed it yet, the two companies we're talking about here are Microsoft and Google. And the disruptive wave we're talking about is, of course, cloud computing. When I first read this, I thought it sounded a lot like urban myth, so I checked it out. I found an article from Computer World backing it up from June 16, 2006. In fact, the International Herald Tribune wrote that the cloud was looming like an information age nuclear plant. Starting a business comes at a large capital cost and then ongoing IT personnel costs. Cloud computing allows you to skip the investments and immediately take advantage of the benefits. The cloud has lowered the barriers of entry for new business startups. The capital requirements for office and computer setups has been greatly reduced with the cloud. Cloud computing allows you to connect your devices to your always-up servers and provide computing resources from anywhere, just like you can plug your electric shaver into any hotel room. Today's entrepreneurs are able to take limited capital resources and invest in their product development and marketing, not investing in expensive computer technology that has an ever-shortening shelf life. Even with an existing business, you can eliminate all of the costs in patching, maintenance, upgrades to software, hardware, and operating systems. The list goes on and on. There have been 2 fundamental changes in computing in our time. Mainframes with terminals were commonplace when PCs came along and revolutionized computing. Then the introduction of networks was another fundamental change in the way we do things. Cloud computing takes advantage of the internet along with advanced computing capabilities and a total shift in the way people expect to acquire and consume things. Think about it. Gone are the days when we had to go to the library, bookstore, record store, Blockbuster, bank, and post office. We can do things online by ourselves that we used to have to hire specialists to do. The small business can have the same resources as the enterprise. Now, Amazon, Salesforce, Netflix, these are all examples of cloud products. The rest of this discussion isn't about products, but cloud infrastructure, or IaaS or PaaS, infrastructure as a service or platform as a service. This means moving your internal servers, desktops, and applications off-site. You literally don't need to have your infrastructure in your offices anymore. Okay, let's start to talk about how the cloud applies to you and your business. Here's why cloud computing is important to you today. Cloud computing will transfer your risk, improve uptime and productivity, eliminate expensive computer upgrades, and free you to work from anywhere, anytime, on any device. To make this work, you should have a pretty good internet connection, connecting your devices with the data center. From your device, you log on to your virtual desktop, which is part of a VLAN, Virtual Local Area Network. Your server is hosted on the data center and belongs to the same VLAN as your desktops. Be sure to hire a competent cloud integrator to handle the nuts and bolts of the setup and migration. With large data centers providing the processing capability, there are measurement standards on how to rate those centers. The largest centers have a certification known as SAS 70. When you connect to the cloud, you are connecting to a data center like the one shown. With the larger providers, such as Amazon, you don't just connect to one, but tens or even hundreds. That means your data will be fragmented over many servers. Everything within this box is off-site in the cloud. The only thing remaining is on the left, the client device. The network is now scalable and built as a utility. You can add or subtract users or do things such as add servers or storage on the fly. If you need to add a user or even a server, it can be done in seconds. You don't have to even call your IT guy. If you eliminate a user, you make a phone call and your licensing costs are immediately reduced. No more paying for licenses that you aren't using or disk space and memory that you don't need. Most of us are either working within a browser or at least have a web browser open the entire workday. Most of us are now very comfortable working in a web environment. Your data, websites, applications, virtually everything is moved to the cloud. Okay, here's the number one objection that we hear. Internet dependability is constantly improving, and really, what happens now if your internet goes down? It is actually less disruptive when you are in the cloud. If your internet goes down, just move to a different location, such as Starbucks, public library, or you can work from home. The world has become so connected that whenever there is internet or phone interruption, we are all affected, but that is happening less and less. The security of your data is more secure and highly monitored in a SAS 70 data center than in your server closet. Microsoft recently released a study showing that security in the cloud is actually better than that of most on-site client-server networks. In the case of the larger providers, the location of your data is not known, usually spread out over the world. In our case, your data is in a private data center in North San Diego, away from the earthquake-prone zone. Office 365 and Google apps are cheap, unmanaged, mostly unsupported apps. They certainly appeal to some businesses. Speed and performance is not an issue at the data center where there are multiple redundant fast circuits. It can be a problem at the client site. It is important to have fast internet at the point of access. If you recently upgraded your network, you might consider a hybrid cloud solution or do an ROI analysis to see whether it is still a good business choice. One of our colleagues' business was recently destroyed, building and everything, when a tornado struck in Joplin, Missouri, the summer before last. He was able to quickly move to the cloud and stay in business. Not the best circumstance to migrate your operation, but an opportune one. Disasters come in all sizes and can vary in their impact areas. Not only are we interconnected from an internet cloud perspective, but our infrastructure, roads, wires, and communication are closely intertwined. A power outage hit San Diego County and in Orange County in northern Baja California on September 8, 2011, with a major impact across the region. The Mexican plant's shutdown is one of 23 events on a 5 separate but connected power grid that transpired in 11 minutes on September 8th. Proud to say that throughout this entire incident, our servers stayed up. The benefits to business: operating expense, you pay as you acquire or consume resources. Utility pricing, you pay for what you use. You shift risk to the provider. You have the same resources as the big boys do. Speed, implement, adapt, enable, easily scalable both up and down. You can focus on your business's real core competencies rather than IT. You can deploy strategic assets, and this is all about your business outcomes. The cost of IT is now shifted to subscription-based software and hardware licenses. Your IT is now all operating costs as opposed to capital expense. You eliminate support costs for your servers. You no longer have to upgrade operating systems, apply patches, or update applications. It's all done for you at the data center. You no longer own servers. You can leave your office, go home, or across the country and log on to the exact same screen you left behind. You are never paying for hardware or licenses that you aren't using. This is especially good news for businesses that have seasonal swings. Large database applications may require a lot of computing power. The cloud lets you provision power on a pay-as-you-go basis, easily adding greater capacity or devolving based on demand. Your data is backed up frequently, can also be backed up off-site. You can even keep a copy of your server locally if you want to. Email is archived for historical as well as liability reasons. Anti-malware runs on the VLAN. Domain security is the same as before. Your network is administered the same way. Internal threats are minimized since your data is no longer in your building in an unprotected and unsecured space. External threats are mitigated. Firewall, anti-intrusion software, business continuity, and real-time backup all in place. Even if your server is breached, it can be rolled back. There are some limitations. Line of business applications are sometimes simply not compatible with a hosted environment. Bandwidth must be fast enough to handle the additional load. Not every business can move to the cloud yet. If your organization runs highly customized applications, you may not be a candidate. There is a lot of gray area between yes and no. A lot depends on the nature of the application and the design behind it. Word processing, document management is nearly a 100% yes. Large customized applications, they just have to be investigated in terms of user interface requirements, data processing, and transaction requirements. I hope this presentation has answered most of your questions about cloud computing for business. Please visit our website, cloudcolorado.com, to contact us for an evaluation of your cloud compatibility and how cloud can help you reach your business goals. Thank you.